I spent an entire week living exactly how all humans should according to government-based websites. And it was not easy. The rules were simple. Every day I must have only up to 2,500 calories, I must have only 175 milliliters of fruit juice, only up to 3 servings of dairy per day, I must do an hour of exercise a day, and finally, the most difficult one, only up to 30 grams of free sugars a day. Let's begin. And so the challenge began. Day 1 began as well, and that was the day where I got used to things, I'd say. I did a pretty bad job of getting used to things, but that is what I did. And I started the day with a lovely bowl of cereal, because in my opinion, that is the only way to start and end a day normally, actually. But it's lovely stuff, cereal. Although, the cereal did make me realise just how little sugar you are allowed in the day, or how much actually goes into these products. Okay, so I've been doing some sugar calculations to see how much sugar I should have in the day, and I've got some visual aids here to show you. So, this is how much sugar you are supposed to have in a day. 30 grams, you know, in a nice little cup. That is that. Now, say you eat one of these lovely Time Out bars here, not sponsored, a Time Out wafer. This is this much sugar here. So that's about 9 and a bit grams, nearly 10. So I suppose that makes sense, you know. You have about 3 of those in a day. This looks like it's less, but it is about a third. I weighed them all out. You have about 3 of those. That's your sugar for the day. However, say you decide this particular day to have a 500 milliliter Coke. Would you like to see how much sugar is in that? That much. That much sugar. Can you see? Yeah. So the Coke is about 50 grams of sugar, 51 odd. Okay, so this is how much you're meant to have in a day. This is how much is in a 500 milliliters of Coke. That's a lot. Now for this information, obviously I was getting it from the NHS website, the National Health Service, because I feel like National Health Services would know the best way to live, you know, hence why Americans are fat. They don't have no health service. However, like I said, I became slightly concerned with the sugar amount in a day, and this led to my first of a few downfalls in the day. On Tuesdays I eat out because I have college all day, so normally I get like a Greggs sausage roll and like a muffin or something, which is very nice. However, I was rather concerned because I thought, can't do that, that's going to have a lot of sugar in it, which is probably correct. But it didn't really do better with what I did. Instead, I decided to go to Tesco and get a Tesco meal deal, because in my mind, some reason I figured that would be better. It wasn't really. I got an Italian meat sub, a share bag of McCoy's prawn and cocktail crisps, and Jimmy's iced coffee. As it turns out, I don't really like iced coffee, so that was not only the most disappointing, but also the fact that I looked at the sugar afterwards and there was a hefty amount of sugar in those boys. That did not work out particularly well, I admit. However, I did regain some shreds of dignity when I got home, because I went for a lovely evening run in the dark, so you won't be able to see much of it, but I did do running, honest, about half an hour long. Basically, I'm doing half an hour dedicated exercise a day, because I normally do a paper round, well, I always do a paper round and then cycle to college, so that kind of equates to over an hour anyway, but I decided I need to do at least some, so half an hour dedicated exercise a day. Now after that, I had my dinner, which was a lovely pasta and a salad, I believe. Yes, pasta and salad. With afters, I had a penguin bar with an orange and an apple, because health is my #1 priority this week. I also, like I said earlier, love cereal, so I normally have another bowl of cereal in the evening, effectively my 4th meal of the day, but I realised I couldn't do that because of the sugar content, so instead I had a rather less satisfying bowl of grapes. I like grapes, but man, it did not cut it, but hey. So in total over that day I had 1,807 calories. Now obviously you're meant to have up to 2,500 as a male, as I am, which is kind of expected. I got lower because I was watching the diet, I was out to eat and stuff like that, and I think if you're not eating a ton of sugar, it is actually quite hard to get that many calories. So that is what I did throughout the day. So day 1 was moderately successful. We did what we could, and you know what, it wasn't the worst day 1 ever. Trust me, when I was born it was a lot worse. And now day 2 began, the second day in a week, which is called Tuesday. But except it wasn't, it was Wednesday one. And then day 2 began. Now remember, in the first day I had my first downfall. Well, day 2 was sort of entirely a downfall in some ways. Day 2 was my birthday, basically, and we love birthdays, don't we? But it kind of did mean that I kind of gave up on the challenge and forgot about it for a day, because I figured there was no way I was not going to eat all the nice food I got. So I admit I had day 2 off. However, I did add on an extra day to the end of the week, so it will end up being 8 days instead of 7, because this day I count, but I'm not actually eating healthily. So yeah, sorry about that. But hey, I had a lovely cake, so who even cares about sugar content? So I started off day 3 by putting on my nice food, like my chili pesto, up on a high wardrobe thing so it was less tempting to eat it. And then after that, I started my day with my usual 15 grams of cereal and juice, which is a lovely way to start the day. Except now it's in higher definition because I got a camera for my birthday. Thank you very much, Mum and Dad. Much appreciated. It's higher definition videos now, everybody. You're welcome. Except the autofocus isn't great. It's now autofocusing onto my wall. Hope you like walls. Now 1, 2, skip a few, we're on lunchtime, and for lunch I had my extra special birthday baked beans from M&S, which were lovely. So obviously I'm not counting main meal stuff like this in my sugar tally, because free sugars is specifically what you can only have 30 grams of. So that's stuff in like biscuits, cakes, just downing cartons of sugar, stuff like that. And then I had my lunch pudding, which totaled up to 6.8 grams of sugar, which isn't too bad. And then after that, I went to work out my biceps in the gymnasium. Now I admit at this point I hadn't been in the gym for a while because I was focusing on other things, so do excuse me if I look like I'm trying to pass a small table. So after dinner, like I said, I had pudding, which was a few crisps and a few sweets. Now I admit at the time this did sort of make me feel bad, make me feel a little bit like I failed, because although it was within the sugar content, the crisp still had fat in. And I'm not counting fat explicitly because I thought I wouldn't be able to keep track of all these different factors. And so I did have this, and it was within the limits, but it wasn't healthy, and it did make me sort of feel a bit bad, like I'd failed the challenge, but we progressed. And to make up for it, I had an orange and an apple, and obviously no cereal that evening because that would simply be ridiculous. Even with a small hiccup, day 4 of course still came around, and I managed to stick well within my limits, and the day went pretty good. And on top of that, I even seemed to have some form of epiphany. Guess what? I have had a sport-based epiphany of the day. So I've figured out why athletes and people of the sporting type have nutritionalists to make them all their meals and decide what to eat. It's because it's so hard and annoying to do. It's not that bad really, is it? But no, it is, because you have to be like, oh, I can't have this sugar, I can't have this food, and you have to, when do you eat? And then if you're like an athlete, you have to have the right amount of protein and carbohydrates, and I could not be bothered. You know, I would pay someone if I could, and I'm broke, so I see why they do it if they are like big money sporting rocks. Not like The Rock, but good at it because they're hard. I don't know. Anyway, that is my sporting-based epiphany of the day, which isn't really an epiphany, and I bet everyone else figured that out 2 years ago, but hey! Interesting stuff, I'm sure you'd agree, and I carried this interesting stuff epiphany with me into my exercise, which was a walk where I apparently tried vlogging for the first time. It's a very nice day out here in the open world. I'm going for a walk. There's a helicopter somewhere over there. Well, I can't actually see it. Rather useless really, isn't it? Where is that helicopter? Probably in the sky. Though I'm more interested in this helicopter. Where is the helicopter? There's like quite a few clouds. You probably can't hear anything because of the helicopter. I got very distracted by that helicopter, and I still never did see it. Now day 5 was a Saturday, so obviously it was going to be slightly different from all the other days so far. However, on top of that, there were also a few other factors at play. Okay, so today is like my birthday thing, which is pretty exciting, but it does mean that in the evening I may end up eating a little bit more like unhealthy stuff than I'm meant to. So the plan is that in the main daytime I will eat less unhealthy stuff so that I don't do too much damage to the plan. So that is what I'm going to do today, or at least I'm going to try to do. So yeah, we shall see how it goes. I don't know why I'm playing the guitar, I just sort of felt like it. Yes, I know, at this rate I would have been better off filming it over Christmas, but hey, we move. I did some stupid looking ab exercises in the gym for my workout of the day, and after my post-workout shower, I don't smell, I sizzled up some nice, healthy, naked bacon for my lunch, popped some toast and slow motion drizzled some salad dressing on my salad. It turns out the salad dressing was too clumpy, so sort of just slow motion fall. It wasn't great, but yeah. And so the evening came and my mates came around, and I admit I did drink a few alcohols and I did eat and drink some not so healthy stuff. I am sorry. Although I did drink from my tap afterwards, so that was a pro point. And we also did some pub skittles at the local pub alley, and holy moly cow, I was bad, really bad. I did like half the points. We would have won if I wasn't so awful, but we'll breeze over that into the end of the night, where I had a vaguely tipsy talk to camera in a bathtub. I think. But I'm not going to make you sit through all of that because it was literally just waffle for about 5 minutes. What I was saying is roughly that it becomes quite easy to regulate your diet on a day-to-day basis because you get into a little routine or something. But it becomes a bit harder when there's something to break your routine, like an event or occasion such as this one. And that was literally all I was saying. So yeah, that was it. And on to the next day. Day 6 was next up, of course, and it passed without incidents. I had plenty of health items, did swimming for exercise, and managed not to break my rules, which did unfortunately mean I'm missing out on crumble, but oh well. And if you were wondering, the only real repercussion of my night of dastardly diet decisions was this rather intrusive spot on my face. But all in all, an easy enough day. And then it was day 7, the final day, except it wasn't because of my birthday. But let's ignore that. I started the day with the normal difficult decision of cereal or cereal and got on with the day. And after that, it was my full day at college, where I obviously got back when it was relatively late. And so I decided to go for my evening exercises then, and I decided that I would go on a run, which went well. I'm about to go for a run, and it's probably the coldest day ever recorded in Britain ever. So I have this hat on, which I never wear, and a very small, thin jumper. So I'm going to go for my run now. I'm not taking this camera because it's big. So you're going to have to make do with lousy, dark phone footage. Sorry, but anyway, I'm going for my run. Bye-bye. You guys ever make decisions you regret, like, immediately after making them? Oh, God. So I made a really dumb mistake of going for a run at 5 o'clock all day. I don't want another car. Okay then. Okay, now what? Oh, God. I'm running down a road with no pavement in the dark with no effective gear at 5 o'clock. I've done more intelligent things in my life, honest. So I made it to the halfway mark, and I'm running back now, as you can see. But my phone's just dropped like 10% charge, and I've got 2.5k to cover before my phone dies, and I have no light source, so probably no more recording. Man, this is pretty stupid. Phone now has 12% charge, so the flash won't work. But my phone's literally about to die, so I've got no torch. So I'm basically having to jump onto these grassy verges and into hedges every time a car comes and walk alongside. I don't literally get run over. People also don't know I'm here, look again, full being blinded. This is not very intelligent at all. My phone has literally a couple of percent back, and I'm sprinting in between stopping for cars. This is going to be it's very close if I get back before my phone dies, because I'm currently using my screen as a light to let cars know I'm here and it's about to die. It's never got good. So I am now post-run. I thought I should give you a quick rundown of what happened on my run, the most dramatic moment of my life to date. Ish. So basically I went on the run with 40% charge on my phone, which I thought was fine, except what I didn't take into account was that it was rush hour and pitch black and I was running down a road with no pavement. But I was like, nah, it's no problem, it's fine. I'll just use the torch on my phone, no issue. Except I was also using my phone for Spotify, recording the run, and recording the footage as I went along. So then I suddenly realised, oh, my phone has dropped about 10% in 2 minutes, which wasn't a great sign, but the signs got worse when I realised that it then dropped again to 10%. And basically what happened is about 5 minutes from the end, my phone ran out of charge. So I basically spent the end of the run sprinting as fast as I could to get past when there was no cars, and then when there was cars, jumping into the hedge so they didn't hit me. Which was quite fun, really. Quite enjoyed it. And as it turns out, when I watched it back, it wasn't actually the most dramatic thing that's ever happened, but it felt like it was at the time, so I hope it was relatively fun. Now, after all of that excitement, I had a lovely veggie dinner, an orange and some form of pudding I've forgotten and didn't write down. Now, after that, I had a pear, but I was still hungry, and I realized I needed to broaden my palate a little if I was to survive this week, so I had some Weetabix, which isn't really my favourite cereal in the world, but my mum says it's healthy, and it is pretty healthy, although I still think it's better to eat dry, just like a biscuit, you know, just pretty good. I think that is definitely the way to go forward. That is the end of day 7, and on to day 8, the actual final day of this challenge. I was very happy, very excited. It was the final day of my advent calendar of misery. That sounded like something I'd write in Year 6 English. It wasn't even that bad, but hey. I was thinking about what really changed in my diet and my life throughout this challenge, and I suppose really, I just reduced the sugar I ate and replaced some of it with like healthier things like fruit, mostly just fruit actually, yeah, and did a bit more exercise than usual, so it really wasn't that much of a change. Anyway, I had the most important day of the meal? I had the most important meal of the day, once again, cereal, obviously, and headed off to Colegio, which I had all day, so eating out again. Now this time I did stick to the Greggs. I had a Greggs sausage roll, some sweet chili crisps, and an orange. Now I did also have a fruzzly bar with me, but I gave that to a Ukrainian man, so I didn't eat that. That's a story for another day though. So. Now after college I did another gym workout, had 2.5 digestives, 2 squares of dark chocolate and an apple. I think I was a bit hungry. And later on I had dinner, which was prawn and salmon rice, which was very nice, that rhymes. And then I had 1 square of dark chocolate and 2.5 digestives. No repetition in this man's life. And that was it. My week was done. All I had to do was go to sleep, wake up, and I could eat all the sugar I wanted to. Although I did try not to, don't worry. And that was that. Now on to the final bit of the video, which is the post-talk of this week in a field. Well, I am out here in a noisy, windy field, hoping that my audio is all right, to tell you that the week is over. I finished it, and you know what? It really wasn't that bad. It was almost fun sometimes, but do I feel any healthier than before? Well, not massively. I don't feel like I'm going to be able to go out and run the 4-minute mile real quick, but I do feel in some ways a bit healthier. It's kind of hard to explain, but maybe one way would be I feel a little bit cleaner. You see, normally every couple of days I get a new spot that will come off my face, but this week I only actually got one, and that was actually after the night that I did eat badly, so I think there is something in that. I mean, I know that health people would say that, you know, the more crap you eat, the worse your skin will be, but you know, I feel like there's some first-hand proof here. And the second thing that I noticed was that I sort of feel less tired this week. I still feel tired in the evenings, a bit more so than normal actually, but like normal tired, and that's to be expected after quite a busy days of doing half an hour exercise on top of everything else. That's to be expected, but during the day I felt a little bit less lethargic and less just tired throughout the day, basically. I mean, realistically, this challenge hasn't been that hard. I mean, I've still been able to have my lunches, my dinners, my breakfast, you know, my puddings after stuff. There's only certain areas that I've sort of cut it down, as you've seen throughout, you know, replacing maybe some unhealthy things with some fruit or whatever, and like not having an afternoon snack and less juice and stuff like that. But something this challenge has made me aware of is sort of how much sugar and fat and stuff that I do eat in a day. And not to sound too much like Jamie Oliver or my mum here, but I think from now on I will be cutting down on sugars in areas. Maybe replace my evening cereal with a pear every now and again, or to quote, a small handful of berries. And I think things like that, maybe having healthy afternoon snacks, will be stuff that I will do from here on out, because I'm just more aware of what's going on around me, I suppose, and what I'm putting into my body. I do sound like Jamie Oliver and my mum, Jamie Mum. However, one thing I don't think I'll be continuing is intense exercise every single day. Especially for me, I'm quite busy with college and stuff, and then I'm still getting exercise and going those places. I just don't think it's really necessary. And besides that, it's quite hard to fit into a day, you know, because you have to specifically get changed and go out and you have to shower and stuff. It does take up quite a lot of time. And to be honest, some places recommend, like the NHS, that you don't actually do that much exercise anyway. They say, I think it's like 2 to 3 hours a week of intense exercise. And I do think that that is more realistic. I just don't think I can be bothered to do a big intense exercise workout or run or swim or something every single day. And so that will be something that I'll be leaving in the past of this single week in my life. Now, something I will admit slightly is that there were a few times where I'd have a little bit extra chocolate or a little extra half a biscuit or a little bit extra crisps when I had them. Now, these were few and far between, and I managed to generally restrain myself and be like, you know what, no, I'm doing this, I'm gonna stick to it. But I admit there were a few times. But that being said, generally overall, when you are, you know, stopping yourself doing something, stopping yourself eating unhealthy stuff because you said you would, it's kind of rewarding in a way, you know, because you're, how do I explain it? You're not just giving in, you know, you're kind of sticking to it and sticking to doing it, and it does feel good to do that. It's nice. And I think there's something in that. I think it's probably a good thing to practice, really. So I'm quite happy that overall I did keep this challenge, because there were a few times when I thought, why am I doing this around my birthday? You know, I've got all these nice food, why don't I just scrap it and do it another week? But in the end, I'm glad I did do it around my birthday, because it added a little bit of an extra challenge in there, you know, to resist eating my tomato sauce. So yes, overall, this challenge really hasn't been that bad. It's been quite good, in fact. I've quite enjoyed it in some aspects, and some people out there are probably just thinking this is literally normal and what am I on about? But it has been a bit of a change for me, and like I said, it will change a few things for me in the future and stuff like that. So I think it's genuinely worthwhile doing, and I recommend it to any of you if you fancy trying it or something similar. I mean, just being healthy for a week anyway is, you know, good practice. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have watched this far, I appreciate it, because this is probably quite a long video really. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, feel free to like and subscribe and stuff like that. I always forget to say that, so it's good that I've actually remembered for once. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.